When someone sustains a brain injury, life for them is not the same as before, and the next step is getting as close to their normal self as possible. Tonight, you will see Allison Penny reflect on her own life post-TBI.
How are you going to be after you lose your memory that you have? I just didn't know that I was going to go any further.
They say live life to the fullest because you never know when it will be taken away from you. Luckily for Allison Penny, this is not her story, but there is a tale to tell.
I just graduated high school. I was hanging out with a couple wrong people and wrong crowds and making some wrong decisions in my life.
And one of those choices ultimately changed her life forever.
We got in a dispute one day whenever I was in the vehicle with them, and I got angry and decided I wanted to end the conversation and walked out where we were driving.
She fell while getting out of the car, hitting her head on the pavement. This resulted in Allison at the age of 18 suffering a traumatic brain injury that now forces her to look at life in a different way. But it wasn't an easy road to get there.
I thought she was not going to make it, and they told us when they took her in surgery, they gave her about a 35% chance of survival.
Allison made it through surgery, but the work was just beginning.
They put her in a drug-induced coma to give the brain time to heal, and they told us when they woke her up a few days later that we didn't know what she would know. You know, that we didn't know if she would know who she was, who we were, if she could talk.
Allison's injury affected parts of her brain, erasing what she had learned in school, even leaving her unable to communicate with those around her.
Her speech was the worst thing that she had as a result, and she's worked very hard, yes, in memory, worked very hard to regain that.
But things went left when she was unable to find the appropriate rehab options in Wichita Falls post-surgery. Days turned into months, months into years with no viable rehabilitation. Frustration and anger followed as Allison started to lose faith that she could one day be the person she was before tragedy struck. Then 4 years later, a ray of hope.
When we were talking with the lady at the DARS, that's the Department of Associative and Rehabilitative Services, and she asked, well, have you ever been to a brain injury rehab? And I don't think we even realized there was such a thing.
And after analyzing a list of potentials, Allison made the decision to go to PATE Rehabilitation, which is located in the small town of Anna near McKinney. This is where life took a turn for the better.
They were so welcoming, and it just made me feel like I was at home, knowing that there were people there that had the same problems as me and knowing like I wasn't alone anymore.
PATE was built with aspirations to improve brain injury rehabilitation and enable its patients to thrive in the real world.
Patients who are recovering from brain injuries can't process things as well, as quick, or the same way as they did before they had their injury. And so it's really important for us to be able to control those things.
And treatments aren't one size fits all.
On the day of admission, as they come to us, we have two different teams. We have FIT, which is Functionally Independent Treatment Team, and then we also have another team called ILS, which is Independent Living Skills. They're a little bit more acute. They can't filter out distractions. They need more structure in order to be successful. We'll have those patients go on to the FIT team.
The program focuses on areas such as physical functioning, communication, cognitive treatment, daily living activities, community integration, and more.
This is where we have all the patients come in. This is where we pull back some of that structure to truly see how they can function.
PATE also provides post-acute transitional living, a home away from home for those who require 24-hour-a-day monitoring and care during brain injury or stroke rehabilitation. For 6 months, Allison stayed on the compound at the Hilltop residence and went through rehab, focusing on speech therapy, but equally as important, her cognitive skills.
Oh yeah, I remember it all. Can't forget what you were saved in.
For the first time since 2012, Allison took a stroll down memory lane, returning to the place that saw her at her worst, but also at her best.
Meditate like you did. It's good to see you too. I learned how to get my speech back in my speech classes, and ran into my counselor that helped us all there learn how to do meditation and calm down on our anger problems.
And now that Allison is a new version of her old self, she wishes there was a facility like Pate's closer to home.
We have a military base here in town. We have a college here in town. They need to know about a place to go to and get help.
Allison is aware that she won't be able to comprehend things the way she did before, but she says she won't stop pushing forward.
Any dream that I have or any goal or anything I want to do, I go for it.
And now Allison's dream is to help other brain injury survivors, letting them know that options are there and providing hope that they too can one day get back on their feet. If you or someone you know has suffered a brain injury of any kind here in town, Encompass Health Rehab Hospital on Armory Road has a focus group monthly for survivors and their families. We will have full details inside this story over on Texomashomepage.com.